only points and potentially an early lead on the overall standings for the leagues, you still want to do well. 3 points for a win, 2 points for an overtime win, 1 point for an overtime loss, and 0 if you lose in regulation. First ban up on the board, it's from Beast Coast, and they'll get the final defender ban as well as they follow the usual meta here and take out Thatcher.
Yes, indeed. Now, back in the day, we used to see a couple of different bans in this slot. It was usually either Habana, mostly because of her Hatch Queen presence that we've known for quite some time now, especially on a map like Clubhouse, or Maverick. Now, Maverick's going to stay in here, so you're more than likely going to see a lot of Hatch work from him, so we'll see what else gets taken off the board. We're into defenders now, and Valkyrie will be the first one removed. Again, pretty self-explanatory. Her application to bank is actually pretty strong. There's a lot of creative spaces for her to work. Same as Mira, this is one of her best maps, honestly, especially for her downstairs defense, where she makes playing Red Hall just a breeze.
So the bans are actually going to be incredibly similar to what we would usually get on the old bank. In fact, pretty much in line with what we would generally get exactly.
It was extremely difficult back in the day because of the amount of different angles that you could just simply adopt from the roof or from the windows over in lobby, and you'd have somebody like Jackal just clear the entire floor, and anybody that tries to run out just dies. You can't get down marble, you can't get down square, and if you go to the front lobby, you're dead. So what are you going to do? Okay, well, you're just not going to play upstairs, and you're more than likely going to try to stick to the second floor, maybe show some face, or maybe even not. You might even just play downstairs and then just leave. But as you can see already from Beast Coast, we're already getting some action here. This is something that we saw quite often back in the day with the castle plays coming in, especially around the E1 hallway. And for those of you that are new, once again, we'll cover all of this stuff. Do not worry. E1 and E2 and even E3, if you do comment like that, is the 1, 2, and 3 difference. I know, it's a little confusing.
You're like, they're gone,
hold on. Is the before you get them too confused, John. So first would be the basement, second would be the mid floor, and third would be the top floor, all for the same elevator hallway that you're staring at right here. So if you ever hear us say E1, E2, or E3, that's going to be those respective callouts. Either way, though, we're into the game for the very first time here, as we'll have TSM on the offensive side.
Not going to be too surprising to see the castle coming into the fold. The castle oftentimes a gatekeeper for these basement attacks, specifically from the more direct angles which have been used in the past. There is another one which can be used to block off the main hallway, which defenders were using in the past to fend off aggression as well. Speaking of aggression, we've got quite a bit of it lined up potentially from Sippin there down the double window run out, but is not going to be able to deploy towards anything. Just as if Yaddle will get a chance a few seconds later here. Achieved, trying to challenge it and losing quite a bit of HP as a result of that challenge taken against Sippin. Sippin will be forced away, but still very much in the neighborhood. Tries to bring out the ECR Jammer, but is not going to work out. Achieved has him locked. He's going to be able to take him down. Bull will follow it up with a second entry as well, so things are starting out very clean for TSM here, as neither of those players are going to be tradable.
On Beast Coast, already feeling the wrath of Bank and an upside-down repel from Achieve. The secondary frag from Bolo coming in from those front lobby windows like we were talking about before. So already getting very creative on their clear here, and now this has all ran into a couple of issues here for Beast Coast. Also, another update to this map. These railings have been changed out, folks, so they're no longer stone. You can actually shoot through them, so it makes all of those rail fights a heck of a lot easier around the map for these stairwells. Now for TSM, clear still going on. Bolo will be able to take down yet another as Anthony will falter, and another kill for Bolo.
As we still have that pivotal quad wall split between the two, or rather the double wall, I do believe, that needs to be held here by the members of Beast Coast in the midst of this round, but we're also going to see the Tachanka come out also. Smoke not banned out this time around, so we're still going to see him pick up as well, as it's a double delay comp from Beast Coast here between those two operators, along with a whole bunch, you could argue like quad delay here with what they've truly brought between young Alec and Fozo as well, the Castle and the Bandit to get in the way, and then of course the Jaeger to mitigate some of that utility, which is always needed still in this current meta.
I'm glad you pointed out the castle, because it's a huge part to the top stairs defense here, especially for the castle barricades that he's actually set up, especially these ones inside of checkers. This is going to limit a lot of the window rappel angles that are usually taken up, especially around the ATM area, which is that front lobby space that you can see through the pillars. So that's going to block off a lot of those cross angles and just make it a little easier for the Beast Coast defensive members to breathe. That's really what it is at the end of the day. When you leave all these windows down, it's just difficult to play space in general. So that's exactly what they're going to be trying to limit with these windows overall. Either way, though, Beast Coast are set and prepared for their defensive set up against TSM. It's the top floor defense for the very first time here. I'm interested to see how this double delay goes with Anthony and Jay. More than likely just going to be playing for some staircase space, as well as the initial plant going down, more than likely in sight of CEO. very forward position here for Sippin inside of Janitor as well. That could get him into some trouble later on, but we'll have to see how it plays out.
Shaw already getting that good intel on a Sippin setup inside of Jay itself. Meanwhile, for the man himself, Jay, he's still going to be waiting back over in meeting for potential duel to come his way here on the Tachanka. Important that he stays alive, though, like you said before, because of his contribution to the overall delay with those incendiary grenades that'll come out later on in the round. But because Anthony's alive, it's not going to be the end of the day. If he goes down, that job can also be fulfilled by him. Rest of the members of Beast Coast are holding the threshold against the window repels right now. No one able to successfully challenge inside of hallway, but Alec, with the first hop out we see, it is negated instantly, however, by Achieved as one goes down and the second follows. Merc also coming out with a quick pick. A nice bounce off the nade does damage to Fozo, but it's going to be a little too far to knock him down.
Difficulty now for Beast Coast, and Achieved's going to strike true with that grenade as well. Fozo to falter, Achieved to tag on. Is this going to be back-to-back flawless rounds from TSM?
Yes, it is too, but once they have that, it's a pretty quick follow-through for the Repel players to get those first picks on site, immediately weakening the overall site setup and allowing for the rest of the team to crunch it. I think mainly Square, but a couple other angles getting used by TSM in the final moments as well there. Beast Coast just could not withstand in any sense. They fall to pieces very, very quickly. Hopefully that improves now as we go back to another basement hold on the third round.
Thank you, Cyano, for showing us that new hatch as well that's been added here on the base floor. Ends up dropping you down into the vault down low. Also, a little bit of an update to the room below the elevator hatch as well, if you wanted to show that off, my friend. Oh, it's the other one, I believe. I think it's the one downstairs.
The one in the basement.
Yeah, it's the one down there. But either way, we're about to get into the round, and that's definitely more important than whatever the heck we're talking about. Beast Coast are going to have some sort of a hold upstairs. We'll at least see a castle barricade here inside of Checkers leading into the front office space. This is going to be across the entire board, though, that Beast Coast are going to be going for this roam game once again. We saw them go for something similar the last time around, and it was quickly dealt with by TSM, and they didn't even actually have to hit the site. Beast Coast presented themselves on the mid floor and lost all of those bodies without a single one being refragged. But now, this time, hopefully, it'll be a touch more successful.
They already know Anthony's here. They just don't know the exact position. It's very possible that drone followed through, but never mind. Merc still has it in the same spot. It can see into the office, however, so it's going to be able to spot out that player waiting in staff. Anthony trying to catch one of the members of TSM as they attempt to move in through the staff kitchen, but so far no success in that regard. Anthony going to continue to maintain control over this area, whereas the rest of the players exercise it elsewhere. Two upstairs holding, looking to fend off some of this pressure from Bolo that's coming in on the one of the remaining, anyway, window repels. They've taken out quite a few of them here. Merc actually going to swing in as well from the other side, so a very quick pinch against this hold. We'll isolate out the footsteps, obviously, since he's on the Jackal. Let's see who's hiding around here, and it's not going to find either one of these players, so that's an issue being presented. Oh, never mind. It does actually spot Alec. Sorry about that. Just didn't show up on our UI. So either way, Alec going to fall back now after being spotted out, and he'll head downstairs.
This is so risky. So many disjointed moves coming in from all of these players. Gio went out the initial one. Saw quite a few bodies working on that upstairs clear as well. Gio was a part of that, but he simply slinked on in down low into Archives. Finds the initial frag onto Sippin, although Beast Coast have delayed quite a bit of time given this roam game, so we'll see what TSM can do going forward with their hard destruction. They are going to have two very easy to use at the end of the day hard destructors in the like of Thermite and Ace, so these hatches should go pretty quickly here. It's just what the execute comes through after that. Young Alec is going to run into some problems inside of the elevator, and they simply cannot buy a frag right now if they wanted to. Alec will go down as well, and Bolo will continue his reign of terror. Merc's going to get one as well, as he simply cannot stay off of Bolo's kill count, as they're both tied up at 4 currently.
Merc going to try to look for another one here as they inch forward. I mean, at this point, I don't even think TSM is too afraid to directly challenge some of these positions, even though they know Beast Coast players are going to be aimed at them. TSM's record for winning these is fairly flawless so far. There's not much to fear for them as they continue to run through these defensive setups, working on doing one of them right now. The access to the site's actually going to be left soft as Beast Coast did not have the extra reinforcement or did not have the time to actually block that one off. Pushing through the smoke, though, will finally lead to some damage against TSM. The plant, though, going in is quickly going to make up for the lost player count. Bolo going...
Pick here for Gio off of the Nomad back onto the Ash, and he's been pretty productive thus far with that, but it's really been Achieved, Bolo, and Merc that have been just simply bowling over over the entirety of this defense that has had no chance to try and fight back thus far. Now, with Staff Room being the selection here, this site's actually pretty unique when it comes to Bank, as it's the only site in the entirety of Bank that you can access from above as well as below and drop out of it, unless obviously you have Oryx where you can jump back up through things. But it's the only one in the entire area that has access like that, where you can drop into it from the top floor and still escape the site from a hatch as well. So this is going to make it to where BC have to hold most of this floor, as well as likely some things going on upstairs to delay some time. And it does look like that is going to be the case. But obviously Archives as well as Teller's office going to be quite important to the overall story of round 4.
Nope. We continue to see that upstairs hold maintained by Beast Coast. Looks like it's going to be primarily done from a different spot, though. Direct contestation onto the stocks room is what we would sometimes tend to see previously, along with this usual extension over here into Square, Archives, and Tellers. But yeah, as we can see for Beast Coast, big emphasis right now going to be going on to Meeting, and now Banana as well, because the defenders have more access to it, but that seemingly is just not going to matter. Bolo rips apart another player, and although, yes, he finally takes a death on his kill counter in the previous round, he already makes up the difference here by getting the first kill on the next one here. Fozo down for the count. Let's see who's going to take the challenge next.
The info was just too solid from TSM. This is all calculated. Look at the amount of drones that Bolo has in this space. He had one up on top of ATM, on top of the actual pillar area, so we can see up and on to Banana. And he's also got another one spaced out here that'll assist Merc in clearing this top space. They even have more drones that are patrolling the area as well. Alec in a lot of trouble, and he's going to go down. This isn't all a fluke, folks. That's what I'm trying to tell you. TSM are on one today, and Beast Coast just happened to be on the receiving end.
This is very similar to when I think Chalet came into the pool a couple of months back as well. TSM, if I recall correctly, was also one of the first teams to adventure out and bring that into their pool as well. So it seems like the same thing could very well be happening here again for Bank, if this match is anything to indicate it by. Beast Coast once more on their 4th defensive round, still falling apart at the seams, still barely able to trade anything out with only a single kill in these 4 rounds so far, and TSM still absolutely dominating at every single opportunity as we get closer and closer to the site execute here, boiling down to the last minute.
I mean, so far this has just simply seemed impossible for Beast Coast. They're fighting a war they cannot win. 2 versus 5 right now going into the last minute for them, and they're going to need a lot of work here, and it could possibly start with Anthony. He'll move out of kitchen, but they have a drone on that too, John. So Gio's going to pre-fire him around the corner. Sippin will be able to get one. It's going to be onto Merc. He'll die for the very first time. But Chala's already putting a plant down, and they don't exactly have a counter to that now, do they? Sippin can't get up this hatch. He'll only be able to play it out like this. Get some damage off onto Bolo as he'll slide into small office, but they have space to work inside of here as well. And with no Nitro Cell, Sippin can't exactly have anything to do with that work anyways. He's going to move back towards Marble as he'll start climbing the staircase. Nobody home currently, except he will have some crosses around the area. They're soon going to hop.
As they're just being executed the moment they try to even take a step out into TSM's POV.
Yeah, I would love to be able to give some insight as to what Beast Coast needs to change up, but I mean,
everything.
Yeah, like what exactly do you say to that?
Yeah,
like it's not the fact of being mean. It's just being real at the end of the day. Beast Coast just are simply having a very, very poor game right now, and is just being driven home by how solid of a game TSM is having. I mean, this info game especially has been so paramount to their success, especially with these kills coming early. I mean, TSM, especially Bolo, just simply walking into ATM, swings right into Fozo, and immediately takes him off the playing field in the first 40 seconds. And that's as a hard breacher. He's swinging that angle and getting those frags. So, yes, yeah, I was actually having this conversation.
Hard breach, at least.
I was having this conversation with my friends a couple of days ago, and I was like, every fragger decided that they would play hard breach as soon as Ace came into the game. Like, as soon as you got the AK-12 off a fuse, it's like, hard breach probably isn't that bad, It'll be fine. I'll try it out. And you guys can see why the TTK on this gun is just absurd. I mean, if I'm telling you right now, if you have to play hard breach for the very first time, just play Ace. It'll make your life a heck of a lot easier. But speaking of making lives easier, Beast Coast for the very first time inside of round 5 will get their first blood. They're going to take down Merc, and that's going to remove a little of this info game. He's had pretty good influence over that mid round with those Jackal tracks.
More importantly, he's been great for trying to pinch out between him and Bolo any of the action that would be going on in this main hallway as well. So they need to have someone else fulfill that role, which means more than likely rotating Chala or Achieved over to do so, or, as we can already see to some degree, having Geo move in and slot himself into this role as well. But Geo might have other things to worry about here. He's going to move forward, try to open up potentially some top-down angles here to knock out a member of Beast Coast and hopefully equalize things before we go down into the site execute. Still Softwall left alive here on the site as well, which is a bit of a change-up from what we would normally get here, but given the change-up to the map and the greater defense that Alex is going to have from this further back position, see where it works. Here's going to be the opening, though. No resistance on that wall breach, so it goes through for TSM. They have the access to the site they need, but do they have enough control to potentially swing in on these repels or just hold the angles necessary to stop the retake from Beast Coast in the execution itself? Geo still looking for a path forward, still looking for anyone at Beast Coast might peep out here and give away a potential kill opportunity too, but no, Polo goes hunting, comes out with nothing, and Fozo returns the favor instead. Beast Coast may finally be getting their feet on the ground here, as TSM cannot seem to find a pick against them on this upstairs hold.
Well, Titans can bleed, as it's David versus Goliath right now in between these two. Minimum time remaining for this offense to get something done with their control of Square. Achieved making some adjustments, but Boza with a second kill of the round. That's that new update for the ump as well, coming through with the 1.5. It's been on for a little while, but just a friendly reminder to you folks, these ranged fights a little bit easier for him now. Chala, though, will finally put Bozo in the dust, but that doesn't mean that TSM are out of the thick of it just yet. Beast Coast still have some very strong positioning, and it doesn't look like TSM are going to be able to crack any of this at the end of the day. Some very solid angles taken up, especially around the janitor's space. Achieved trying to propel himself forward, but it's going to be Chala to strike first. Achieved really needs a frag inside of this space as well. Sippin on the receiving end right now. Stun starting to come in. He'll avoid the first one. Alec with a frag. Achieved springs two. Down into the 1 versus 2. Can he get it done? Alec gone, and now Anthony, the last remaining member. Doesn't have the SMG-11 anymore to move faster, though, and he simply can't get up the hallway in time. I'm telling you, John.
For a direct square push, so they set up basically a trench in the back lines of that site to fire through and take down anyone from TSM that tried to push past it.
That's the greatest way to describe that as well. They grabbed all of the more magnified guns to play at that range and just try and simply take the gunfights to TSM. Except out of all the other times where it didn't work, this time it did, and it was really the start that ended up catching TSM off guard. Bolo almost ended up getting a kill, but sadly enough, not the case. Fozo instead able to fire back, just like we were talking about earlier with the bullet tracers getting you in a little bit of trouble when you do end up hitting those long sprays. Fozo counters with the exact same move and takes him out in very, very similar fashion. So for TSM, it'll be back to the drawing board after they get their hands burned just a little bit on that last round, but that doesn't mean that this has to stop now. Could be a 5-1 lead for them at the half as we jump into round 6.
The bunker setup upstairs works, and they're going to rely on it somewhat going into the 6th round here as well, because we're back to the staff defense, I do believe, downstairs, as they'll be once again extending into projector as well as any of these other CEO-oriented rooms to try and defend it. Sippin, though, a little bit more adventurous this time, now that Beast Coast has learned, indeed, that they can kill the members of TSM somewhat consistently. Sippin's going to try his luck one more time with a position towards the front lobby. No drones here either. Bolo's usually been fairly cautious with this approach, and once again, it's the same for this round. He's going to catch the moves from Sippin, although he's not able to eliminate him. That job will fall to Achieved on an alternate angle.
As you'd expect out of TSM, it's the team play that gets them through this instead of the individual. They'll take down Sippin, although they might run into some more obstacles early here. We got a pulse downstairs in archives that'll give up a lot of this intel for Beast Coast, what they can get done and achieved. He has been, oh my god, not like that. He takes Fozo out on the castle barricade and immediately gives Alex, oh, that's
Achieved,
just
like Rambo,
unfortunate. That's what I'm saying. Alec had no idea what was going on around that space. A castle barricade blows up and then he simply loses his life. No chance to actually try and fight back there. And now Beast Coast once again walking into the halfway mark and around with only 2 members remaining.
Dominating everything in this round so far, playing off some great intel from his teammates there. Bolo obviously having to take the heat so he could get his first kill against Sippin, but these second 2 were all him. Maybe some intel support coming in from one of his other teammates. Perfect nade and the immediate follow-up once he gets his gun back out onto a 3rd kill as well. And all that, I believe, coming from the rappel. All 3 of those kills are fairly close to it. So very well done from him to put TSM back on the right foot forward pretty much immediately after they drop a round. Now, we're not over yet. Still a minute to go in this round, so that's plenty of time for TSM to work a 5v2. There's two players that are going to be the trickier ones here for Beast Coast. Neither of them have been able to negotiate a kill so far inside of this game, but a lot of intel still going to be coming their way, specifically with Jay still alive here on the pulse. It's going to be hard to use that heartbeat sensor, however, with slowly all this top-down control going away. Jay's going to be able to mark himself a first kill. Instantly, the trades come in, though, in TSM. Half of this map, we already saw the members of Beast Coast trying to play around with their roam game quite a bit, but instantly we're going to see something different from TSM, a site that the members of Beast Coast, I don't believe, tried to defend whatsoever inside of the first half. We're going back to Tellers for the first time, so we do get to play out all 4 sites on this map in the very first play. That's great to see. All teams feel there's viability in some department at every single site here. But once more, TSM will stretch themselves and see if they can close things down quickly, with 2 more rounds needed to do so inside of this defensive half.
Okay, so TSM, for the very first time here, they'll be outfitting things very similar to what we saw from Beast Coast on their defense. This top floor, again, very important to the overall story of what happens on Bank usually. You really want to keep these roamers safe and try and delay as much time as possible. Now, this is going to be a basement defense, I do think, at a minimum here. Can't really tell. It could be on that mid floor. Yes, indeed. Yeah, there we go. I just wanted to make sure. That's why I was covering my bases, folks, because you never really know with those top floors when you're staring at them. It is going to be the mid floor here, which actually kind of acts as like a central hub for this map overall. You have to work the outside stairwells to kind of get to this space, and for TSM, that's why they're going to be holding on to a lot of these different areas. If you guys remember Bank back in the day, especially when Evil Geniuses was playing it a lot, Marble Stairs plays into this quite a bit, and we used to see a lot of castle barricades around the E2 hallway to try and hold on to Marble Stairs so you can play the cross for the A site. As for B, that plays a lot for the top floor as well as just the site players in general, but we'll have to see what TSM can do early on here. It could all be decided in the first minute.
Although waiting for his first opportunity to strike against the window repels here, which are already working their way up to deal with this extended play. TSM, when it comes to this second floor play, does not have the greatest amount of support on their 2 separated players here, although that has changed up a bit. It's looking a little bit healthier now. However, Bolo going to have the yellow ping come out against him. What use will it lead to, though? A nade going against him, unfortunately, is a bit short. That shelving saving his life in part here, but the distance more than anything leading to it. The Zofia ready to swing around. This is all a matter of timing right now for Bolo here. He's been spotted out by, I think, 2 different drones now. There's one in the room in front of him and one to his right. He's going to take the one out to his right, still has the other one in the inside of CEO, causing problems for him, but he's alive. He's still here to some extent, and Chala on the TCSG is going to pick up an opening kill instead here as Bolo tries to survive. 2 more nades coming his way. Finally, one takes him out. It's actually going to be Fozo running right through the inside of front desk here that takes both him and Merc out of the fray.
Somebody had to get something done. I mean, Bolo allowed to exist in there for so very long. Finally, I thought that last frag grenade would get it, but it's Fozo, as you said, to strike true first. They've run out of every single drone, though, it seems to be on this offense, all except for Jay's set that he'll be using right now to try and find these last TSM members. But they're set up around this space. Achieve working the top of Marble as well as Geo in tow to try and assist him. East Coast have to try and hop to on this mid floor. They need to get this wall broken up, and that's where Fozo comes in once again. His torch work will be paramount to getting this wall open and at least a plant attempt going on. Chala, as you'd expect, inside of the site. We saw him with an earlier frag that really popped things off for TSM, as they'll be able to equalize with Geo as well.
Geo, a big kill here. Now Chala, a lot more pressure beginning to build up against him with the TCSG. This could be an awkward fight if things get a little bit too close for comfort. That pressure, though, slowly building itself closer and closer towards him. He's going to need to call for team support now, and there we go. Jay knocking him out. Advantage to Beast Coast as we go into the final seconds of the round. Geo going for a big rotate. It's being watched, but it doesn't matter. Geo still shuts out Anthony anyway. Can't deny the plant, though. He has no vision on the planter itself. Different for Achieve, but still it won't matter as the plant goes down onto the ground here. The timer starts ticking in Beast Coast's favor, but the player count is not. Jay with a great trade, though, brings us back on even terms just when it was lost, and he's going to try to do this with his sidearm here. Flash is chucked out. Should have been able to blind at least in part off that first one, but now we're going to see Geo hold back, wait things out. Explosive. The Nitro Cell goes in to make a bigger hole here and hopefully give him an angle against Jay, but Jay's smart about this. Continues to play it back, continues to wait. However, Geo comes out on top with the quad instead, and he's going to push TSM up on match point.
The timing there blew. And overall, these defenses are looking stacked right now for them. That top hold especially, although Beast Coast eventually able to break it up with Fozo, wasted so much time, and really TSM able to fight back in very convincing fashion after that.
Yeah, I mean, Bolo's still getting a bit of a gold star on that round, in my opinion, between him and his teammate playing upstairs, and whoever may have been feeding Bolo info during that time, as he had so much pressure boiling down on him. Multiple different, I think 3 different frag grenades thrown at him at one point as well, and he's able to waste all of that utility up to the final grenade when him and his teammate do go down, along with 9 of the drones that Beast Coast had. That's a big part of that, too, is in the final couple of seconds, there were no presets on the site for the members of Beast Coast to play off of there, so they were going in blind or just what they had previously gathered about the setup from TSM, and that's all credit to Bolo and his teammate upstairs there for wasting the large majority of that.
Absolutely. Now TSM with an opportunity here to only drop 1 round as the inaugural bank of 2021 here for the NAL. TSM going to be holding on to the top floor here for just a little bit of time, although they will have that mid floor covered as well, and achieved. I'm honest. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. That's totally a mistake. He did not mean to have that shotgun. It's pretty bad at the end of the day. So he's gonna have the SMG, or excuse me, the SMG. He's not gonna have the SMG, but he will have his sidearm here to at least assist for the time being. If this works out in close engagement, it could be pretty crazy. But instead, it's gonna be Sippin to take him out at range.
No capability to fight in the back there, and yeah, I'll agree now that that's probably gonna end up being a mistake pick from him, as he does not even put himself in a good position to.
I mean, how are you supposed to play? How are you supposed to play open area with that?
Yeah,
thing,
no.
you know what I mean?
Listen, I totally agree. No disagreements there. So TSM, that slight mistake will cost them big as they'll go down 4v5 with no team support in the nearby area to trade that back out either. Bolo, though, moves in, still makes the trade happen anyway as he wraps back over. Drone's going to spot him out from right on the inside of Tellers. He does need to fall back from the site after that, which is a bit unfortunate, as obviously his teammate upstairs could have used a bit of help here. Merc now running around, but Merc might be able to handle himself here. The members of Beast Coast don't seem to have him locked just as of yet. They get a chance to, but no. Anthony is none the wiser as Merc takes down his first target. Well, the drone on him with the jammer, he's able to avoid some of that intel as he wraps back over into meeting now, trying to take a duel with Jay, and it's a perfect headshot against Fozo to get himself a second. Goes for 3, but Sippin will finally take him down. However, the damage is done. It's still TSM in control at a 3v2 with over a minute left.
And what else do you expect out of TSM besides Bolo and Merc being the MVPs of a round? Bolo with the leadoff pick and Merc to send it home. Now, Beast Coast have to win it out in a clutch. It's a 2 versus 3. Minimal info to influence their decisions inside of this last minute as well, although Jay will still have both of his drones alive. That's a great hard breacher right there, folks. Either way, though, he still has both of his exothermic charges, and he'll use the initial one here inside the E2 hallway to pop the hatch for the elevator going down low. TSM will obviously be glaringly aware of that as the massive noise goes off right behind them. He's going to end up popping both of those, so it will be kind of a game of cups here for the TSM members to see exactly where Beast Coast want to try and throw this. Beast Coast, though, trying to throw one up the rear here. Sippin the slide right into the garage, and you can see the distraction trying to work its way in for TSM, but oh no. Seems like they're aware now. Chala, oh yes, glaringly aware of Sippin's positioning as he's still inside of the garage. Stepping up now, Chala's going to be able to play this back and forth on both ends. Stunts pouring in. Bolo will be able to assist with the garage angle now. Jay's going to get the initial fray, actually taking it down into the 2 versus 2, but beautiful shots here from Bolo. And Chala working the stairwell is going to make it too difficult for Jay to try and get into the site. That's a GG in the chat for all of you folks. TSM winning it 7-1.
TSM, just like when Chalet was brought into the pool, shutting it down again here on Bank in their very first play. Beast Coast thinks that they're going to be all right to take them to this new map. Clearly, that was not the case, as TSM was way too prepared for this matchup themselves, and they shut it down 7-1 in their favor, rebounding after a rough first week with a very quick victory here to get them 3 points on the league overall.
Yeah, achieved 10-3 inside of that one as well. It was just a TSM onslaught across the board. It'll be interesting to see what Chala's stats were for that one, because I feel like he just kind of got set on the back burner like,